All right, part two of the utilities video series. This one we're talking about elmű-émász website, and we're going to break down the utility bill itself and show you the calculator here. If you haven't seen part one video, I'll put a link in the bottom or on this video somewhere. Go ahead and check that out. In that video, it talks about the arrangement between you and the landlord and what should be in the contract before you rent out an apartment. And guys, if you're not getting a scanned copy of the bill from your landlord, you need to make sure that you're taking pictures of the meters in the beginning and at the end of the month so that you can see the kilowatts consumed during that month, and you can use a calculator so that you can at least get an estimate of what you will be paying. Then you can compare that with what was sent to you. So just remember that. So what you have here is as I showed you in the first video, the calculator. The very first word, szolgáltatások, which means services. You just want to just go to the drop-down menu and go to calculator, and you have four options here, and you don't need to worry about the others. You just want to go to the very first one, which is the most common household residential calculator. Click on that. Lakossági means residential. And here on the top here, you see four sections here. It's just basically showing you an estimate of what the energy consumption would be for one person, two people, four people in an apartment, and a family of four in a house. Again, it's just an estimate. And by the way, if you want to translate in English, just to kind of get a rough translation, I showed you in the first video how to use Google App Translate with the camera option. If you just want to maneuver around the website in English as best as you can do that, and that can at least help you out. Okay, so if we scroll down to the residential calculator, you'll notice here there's a question. And that question, it just translates to, is there a controlled nighttime meter? And this is important, guys. You need to know the difference between A1. If I click on the drop down, you'll see A1 or A2. A1 is a daytime meter. A2 is day and nighttime meter. And it's very likely that you have an A1 because that's the most common. But check the bill. It will show on the elmű bill. If you don't receive a scanned copy of the bill, then you need to ask the landlord or even check the contract to see whether you have an A1 or A2 if it's on there. On the last video, part one, I did show an example of a contract that's an A2. That apartment actually had a daytime and nighttime meter. So anyways, you need to ask the landlord or again check your bill. If you want to know more about it, just scroll up here to Villamos Energia Tarifak, the drop-down menu, you see A1, A2, and either use your partner to translate or use Google Translate. But to simplify it, again, A1 is a daytime meter, A2 is a day and nighttime meter. And usually with the A2, from what I understand, basically elmű is passing the savings to the landlord for having an A2. If, for example, there's central heating and he has a nighttime boiler and that's being run at night to warm the building, that's an A2. That's an example of having the A2. But again, just go ahead and make sure that you know which one it is. So if I go back to the calculator, I'm going to use the example of the two people, 180 kilowatts. Ends up being the reading. I'm going to say niche, no, I have only A1. So I will put 180 here on the form, hit Samol, and what it's going to do is it's going to give you an estimate of what it's going to cost. So you see 5,326. This is the total after tax. It's going to be 6,764. This is the yearly. I wouldn't pay attention to that unless the arrangement is on a yearly, but this should be the monthly right there, 6,764. Anyways, that's it. Let's go take a look at the bill and break that down. So I downloaded the PDF sample of the bill, and you can do the same thing yourself, but why would you? So on the right side, you see every section is broken down in Hungarian, but I'm going to explain as fast as I can each section here. I'm going to enlarge it here and move it over. So here we go. Number 1 is the address of elmű-émász headquarters in Budapest. Number 2, you see Adam Ákos. He is the account holder with the address. Now, just keep in mind that that address is what's showing on the address card, not necessarily where the meters are being read. But in this case, as you will see, for simplicity, they're going to use the same address here on this example. Number 3 is the contact information for elmű. You'll see the phone numbers there, and just remember that if you have a Hungarian partner, it'd be a lot easier for them to call because I don't think that you'll get very far not speaking Hungarian. I don't think they have anybody speaking English. I could be wrong. Somebody correct me on that if they do. Number 4 is the account number, and again, you'll see at this address the meters are read at that property. Okay, number 5, you'll see the date and the amount that is due. Now, this figure, of course, is not a month-to-month. What they're using here is a 6-month period. So, as you can see, the date, June 2019 to January 2020. So, normally it's a month-to-month. So, keep that in mind. And at the bottom, you'll see the due date. Number 6 is the amount that the account holder would have paid, I believe based on the 6-month arrangement. So there's a savings there. You'll see the amount that is deducted and the amount that is saved. Number 7 is just useful information on how to pay the bill online. Number 8, you see the payer's ID number and also the bill to address where the electricity is being used, and also the tax ID number. And you'll see also that the account holder can pay online, can pay by mail, and also at the post office. Okay, number 9, here's where we're coming down to the nitty-gritty. You can see here that there are 2 meters, and keep in mind that every meter has their own identification number. Just think of it like a car has their own unique VIN number. Same with the meters. So you have those numbers on the left. Then you have the period of the reading, and you also have the start and the ending of the meter readings, and then the difference on the very right. And that's the kilowatts that was consumed. Number 10 is the detailed breakdown and what it's going to cost with tax or any discounts applied. If I scroll up to the top here, you'll see that amount that is due on number 5 is the same figure that you're going to see at the very bottom, right here at the bottom right. I forgot to mention, let me scroll back up to number 9. Remember I mentioned the type of meters, there's A1 and A2. On the top of number 9, that's where you will find the kind of meter that you do have on the bill. 12 and 13, wouldn't worry too much about that, but number 11, you have again, the total with the unpaid balance, which you see right here in the middle. Again, this is a 6-month period that they're using here as an example. You'll probably have the month-to-month. That's where you'll see it. Anyways, guys, I hope this video was helpful. I know it went a little longer than I planned. Talk to you soon.